In this movie, we investigate our border options. Now, as established in a previous movie, borders are the space between the padding and the margin of our objects. Now, for borders, we're actually going to have more options than we've had previously with our padding. However, there will be something in common with padding, and that is we have a shorthand method to write our border properties. Now for our border, we're going to have border style, border color, and border width for our properties. And all three of these will be available for our 4 sides of the box. Now before we talk about how you're going to set the properties for all 4 sides of the box, let's talk about our different values that we can place into each of these 3 main properties. So for our border dash style, we have none, hidden, dotted, dashed, solid, double, groove, ridge, inset, and outset. Starting with none, our none border style is actually going to remove the appearance of our border because it's not going to have a style, so therefore it's not going to appear. None is different than hidden, which is our next option, because none will actually remove any size parameters that are set as well. Hidden will just make it so that the border is not showing, but the size is still set. Dotted is going to make it so our border is showing up as little dotted lines. Then the dashed will make it show up so that it's dashed lines. Solid, the line will be solid. Double, we will have 2 lines in the place of 1. The next 4 are going to be a little bit different depending on which browser you're working with. With groove, it will look like you have a groove in the page, as if it's being carved out of the page. The ridge will typically look like you have a raised edge that goes around. Inset will make it appear as if you have a 3D edge that's dropping in your content region. So your content region will appear as if it's inset into the page. Outset will make it appear as if it's sitting on top of the page with a little beveled edge as well. And like I said, those are really going to differ with each one of your different browsers. And of course there will be some difference in the other border styles as well, but not as noticeably so. So go ahead and take some time and experiment with these border styles. However, on a personal note, I very rarely end up using borders that are not solid. Now, you can use them. However, keep in mind that if you get things looking too stylized, people are going to feel a little uncomfortable working with those pages, and it may actually set off an alarm in their head that makes them say this website looks a little unprofessional. Next, we have our border color. So we're using the border color property, and we can use any color using any of our color systems that we want, or we can use transparent. Transparent will make our border color transparent so that we can see the color beneath it. It will maintain the size that is set on that border with our border width. With border width, we can use any of the measurement systems that we've seen. We can use our absolute and relative measurement systems, and we can use some keywords such as thin, medium, and thick. Now these keywords, thin, medium, and thick, are going to be determined by the browser, so there's really no way that I can give you an equivalent to that because it differs throughout your different browsers. Some browsers will read thin and write it as a 1 pixel line, and others will read it as a 2 pixel line. So there's a large variety between our different browsers. So that's how we're going to use our border style, border color, and border width. Now if we take a look here, we will see that with our borders we're going to have all of these different properties that we can set. So thank goodness for shorthand. So instead of having to write border top style, border top color, border top width, border right style, border right color, border right width, border bottom style, border bottom color, border bottom width, border left style, border left color, and border left width, we can thankfully just write border and then the size, the color, and the style. Now we will be using this shorthand method for when we want to set the size, color, and style the same throughout the entire border, because you can set each side separately from the others. So if you do need to set each side separately, there is a shorthand for that as well, which is border dash and whatever side you're trying to target, and then the size, color, and style. Now the size, color, and style can actually occur in any order here, and I typically just write it in whatever order that comes out, and I don't have a logical system to that. And it's pretty easy to tell what you're talking about whenever you're dealing with your border, because your size is going to have a unit attached to it. Your color is going to be hexadecimal, keyword, or some other variation using your RGB values. And then your style is going to be one of those other keywords. So it's pretty easy to tell what each one of the values represent. Now that concludes this look at our border property. In the next movie, we will apply it to our project.